there, I'm CBS 8's Jenny Day. So glad to have you with me as I take you around San Diego. I'll catch you up on our top stories and look ahead at what's to come. First of all, though, go Padres. We are so proud of our team and our city. Playoff games are this weekend. Now let's get to the homeless crisis. This week, the San Diego County Board of Supervisors and San Diego City Council held a joint summit for the first time in 20 years, voting unanimously on a resolution. Together, they plan to build 10,000 more affordable housing units on government-owned properties by the year 2030. But Monday, they said one of the big challenges will be finding places to build and getting community support.
Everybody says, hey, tackle the cost of housing, build more housing, and that's usually true until you actually propose a housing project. And then everyone that's anywhere near that says, no, we want you to build housing, just not here.
Yeah, more than 50 people spoke during the public comment part of that summit. Now, this comes as San Diego police are once again enforcing a ban on tents on public sidewalks, all in an effort to get more homeless San Diegans off of the streets and into shelters. This crackdown on tents along public rights-of-way during the daytime had been in place since before the start of the pandemic and is once again being enforced. This renewed push, in which authorities are supposed to offer outreach and shelter services first before ticketing repeat offenders, aims to get more unsheltered people off of the streets for good.
As we have dramatically increased the amount of outreach, shelter, and housing that we're providing the community, we continue to ask the unsheltered folks to accept those services. And one of the ways that we can do that is by enforcing our existing laws. We have laws against encroachment, around blocking public rights of way.
Yeah, according to Mayor Gloria, his administration has increased shelter capacity by 38% in the past 2 years, although homeless advocates point out that more shelter beds are still needed. Well, the average price for a gallon of regular unleaded gas in San Diego County jumped again this week. The average price in the county is $6.42. We were at $5.90 just a week ago. We're also a penny higher than the state average of $6.41. Governor Gavin Newsom says it's because oil companies are ripping you off, but many energy experts disagree. Our political reporter Morgan Reiner joins us to explain why our prices are so high.
I spoke to 5 energy experts today. 4 of them said that this is not because of greed, but rather supply and demand and California's environmental policies. The 5th one I spoke to said everyone else is wrong.
My first question to everyone today, why are gas prices so high?
Maybe 5 refineries that are offline, at least temporarily. And so the supply of California blended gasoline is a lot lighter than everybody had planned.
Like University of Houston energy fellow Ed Hers, Mark Agerton, who is an assistant professor at UC Davis focusing on energy and resource economics, pointed to the several refineries closed for maintenance.
We have a special blend of gasoline that's mandated by the Air Resources Board to help deal with local air pollution from our cars. And so not a lot of places make that kind of gasoline. Because of that, our import options are really limited to kind of help offset this shortage.
Patrick DeHaan agreed that strict environmental guidelines make it hard to meet demand when there's a cutoff in supply. He is a market analyst and fuel forecaster. My second question for him and everyone else today, was Newsom right or wrong when he said these high prices are due to oil companies' greed?
What we're seeing is simply misinformation. This is simply supply and demand related.
I'm hesitant to blame high prices on greed.
The governor's kind of playing fast and loose with the rhetoric and the facts.
My next question, if supply is the issue, why not expand California refineries? Severin Bornstein is a director at the UC Berkeley Energy Institute. He said it's hard to convince businesses to invest or expand gas in California.
We're at the same time telling refineries that we're actually phasing out gasoline. And we need policies to do that in a much smoother way.
Jamie Court disagreed with everyone and everything.
I find that just a phony argument. The gas economy is not going away anytime soon.
He is the president of Consumer Watchdog and believes the refineries planned maintenance at the same time on purpose.
When you have 5 refiners that make 97% of our gasoline, they can control the supply to drive up the price, and they are.
Court says environmental policies are not the real reason behind the high costs that we're seeing, but in some way are at play, because he says these oil refineries and companies are trying to get revenge on California for enacting them. But we will likely never really know for a fact if that is the reason why several refineries shut their doors at the same exact time for maintenance. But another common theme that we saw today from everyone that I spoke to is that there is a balancing act. Yes, even when we're not seeing these high prices of gasoline in California, Californians at this point will always pay a little bit higher in general because of the environmental standards. But because of that, we do have cleaner air.
So interesting. Thank you for explaining. And millions of Californians will start seeing money hit their bank accounts this week. You may be among them if you qualify for the middle class tax rebate. A family could see up to $1,050. This is not the gas rebate the governor originally called for, but goes to certain taxpayers to help offset inflation. It took a lot of negotiating between the legislature and the governor's office to get to this point. For a full breakdown of who qualifies for the rebate and how much each income earner gets, we've included a link on our website at cbs8.com. Well, Election Day is just about 5 weeks away now, so we want to break down some ballot measures for you. If passed, Prop 30 would raise taxes for some while paying for efforts to reduce air pollution and fight wildfires. Jasmine Ramirez explains what's on the ballot and what people have to say on both sides of the issue.
The measure would support electric vehicles. A portion of the money would also help hire more firefighters to help stop the spread of wildfires in areas with dry brush like this. From wildfires to heat waves, Californians can see the impacts of climate change. Should Californians making more than $2 million a year pay higher taxes to fund new climate projects? That's what Prop 30 is asking. If passed, it would create up to $5 billion annually. The largest chunk of money would go to electric vehicle rebates and charging stations. Another portion will help hire and train more firefighters.
We need more personnel for fire engines to be able to jump on a fire and reduce the air pollution that's being put into the air as these fires occur, which we all know is no longer just normal vegetation. It's houses, vehicles, chemicals.
The union representing Cal firefighters, health organizations, and environmental groups support the measure. It's also backed by Lyft. Groups like the California Teachers Association and Governor Gavin Newsom are against it.
Fellow Californians, I need to warn you about Proposition 30, one company's cynical scheme to grab a huge taxpayer-funded subsidy.
Tonight, I reached out to the governor's office. We received this statement saying the measure is fiscally irresponsible and puts the profits of a single corporation ahead of the welfare of the entire state. According to a Berkeley IGS poll from last month, 49% of likely voters support Prop 30, 37% are opposed, and 14% are undecided. So how much would Prop 30 cost high earners? It would increase state income tax by 1.75% for those earning more than $2 million a year. Jasmine Ramirez, CBS 8.
Jasmine, thanks. Well, a new state law is taking effect soon, and it could help workers across California by giving them valuable information regarding salaries. CBS 8's Steve Price breaks down the details.
California's new wage transparency law will make it easier for employees to find out how much others at their company make for doing the exact same job. And we talked to an employment expert about how you can use that information to your advantage. Women in California earn about 88 cents for every dollar a man makes. People of color earn even less. So Governor Gavin Newsom just signed Bill 1162 into law, leveling the playing field. It requires companies to include a salary in job listings and gives employees the power to ask for the salary range of people at their company who have their same job. Assemblywoman Cristina Garcia, who co-authored the bill, says it will make it harder for companies to hide unfair wage practices.
If you're doing everything right, you have nothing to be afraid of out there. And if you're not, this is the opportunity to hurry up and change your practices so that we are no longer cheating out half of the population.
This is an employee's job market.
Phil Blair with Manpower Staffing San Diego says this new wage transparency could definitely force companies that are grossly underpaying employees to raise salaries.
If you have 500 employees and you lose 5 a month to higher pay, not a big deal. You lose 200? Big deal.
But Phil also says you have to be careful comparing salaries in the same company because even though titles may be the same, the details may be very different.
It depends on working hybrid. It depends on where you're based. It depends on if you are commission or you're on base. Only. It depends on experience.
If you do find out someone at your work is making more than you, Phil says stay calm. Instead of demanding a matching salary, start a conversation with your boss about how you can increase your value to the company.
Let's talk about, are you willing to get a certificate in this? Learn this new technology? Are you willing to travel more?
And his final tip, if you enjoy your current job, love your coworkers, have flexibility, make sure you consider those factors before leaving for a few more dollars somewhere else.
I want you to be happy for years. Not, well, I got a raise, but I hate this job. I'm commuting. I have to be in here every day. And you won a battle, but you lost a war.
The new law goes into effect January 1st. Steve Price, CBS 8 News.
Steve, thanks. And this week, owners of short-term vacation rentals started the application process for a controversial ordinance. The city is putting a cap on the amount of rentals and putting owners in a lottery, but it's not a done deal. CBS 8's Richard Allen explains the pending legal challenge.
Well, that's right. The application process for these coveted licenses remains open until November 30th. Now, applicants who are limited to one license each should learn by December 16th whether or not they received one.
Oh, this day was a very long time in coming.
Councilmember Jennifer Campbell led the move for this ordinance, which she says will not only improve quality of life for neighborhoods, but will also increase the available housing supply for San Diegans by limiting the number of short-term rentals.
We feel that it'll probably put at least 5,000 new living units on the market for the San Diegans who live and work here.
Owners renting their property out for fewer than 20 days a year or renting out a room in their home while still living there themselves simply need to apply for a license but are not subject to the lottery. Those renting out their entire vacation rental home for more than 20 days a year will have to enter the lottery. There will be about 5,400 of these licenses issued citywide. In Mission Beach, though, where there's a much higher number of short-term vacation rentals, there will be about 1,100 licenses available. Application and licensing fees range from $100 for those renting out their property under 20 days a year to $1,000 for those renting out their entire homes for longer than 20 days. Applicants with a good track record of renting out their property will also have a slight advantage.
Have you paid your TOT tax? Have you gotten a business license? Have you tried to behave as if this was a legitimate business with regulations? And those will give you extra little points in the lottery system.
This new ordinance is also the subject of legal action. A lawsuit filed last week against the city claims this new ordinance, by limiting the available number of short-term rentals, would disproportionately impact Hispanic families, who, according to the lawsuit, are often low income, by limiting their access to beach and coastal rentals. Campbell counters that this suit has no merit, pointing to the Coastal Commission's approval of the ordinance.
The Commission for the State of California that takes care of land use on the coast and makes sure everyone has fair access to the coast. They approved this.
And these licenses will last for 2 years and can be renewed. For more information on the application and lottery process, just go to cbs8.com and click on the help button.
Richard, thanks. Well, have you ever filed a complaint on the city's Get It Done app? So many of the emails we get from you at home are about problems in your neighborhood that you report to the city that really never get solved. CBS 8's Anna Laurel is working for you.
I'm out here on Ulrich Street. All the street lights you see behind me, none of them work. Neighbors say it's dangerous out here and crime is up because of it. In fact, one of their friends was murdered under a street light that didn't work.
As you see, this is where the shooting happened. Streetlight doesn't work.
That's Ron Casper from the Linda Vista Town Council.
Hey, look, none of these streetlights work.
Showing just how dark Ulrich Street is at night.
As you walk down this way, none.
It was in this darkness that father of 5, Johnny Ramirez, was murdered on a sidewalk this summer.
Had that streetlight been working, I'm pretty sure that the person who killed him would not have felt so comfortable in doing that.
Veronica Estrada filed complaints about the streetlights on the Get It Done app, but nothing's fixed.
I have no faith whatsoever in it. When I type in my area and reports that have been made, there are so many reports that are over a year old that are still in process.
I reached out to the city to find out when is the Get It Done app actually going to get things done. The city points to staff shortages.
We're a city of 1.4 million people, and we can't run a city without full staff employees at all times.
Jonathan Widener has been on the Linda Vista Town Council for years.
We are not getting any resolved.
According to the city's website, it takes an average of 309 days to fix a streetlight and close a case. Widener says, based on reports he's filed, that's not true.
I know that some of them have been closed, and we'll drive up here to see if the lights were fixed, and they aren't fixed.
When I first started covering issues with the Get It Done app back in April, the city told me it's prioritizing streetlight complaints because it's so backlogged. When I told these neighbors the priorities, they say the 18 lights out on this street meet the criteria for clustering of repairs, proximity to schools and parks, traffic crashes, and crime. For friends of the man murdered out here just weeks ago, they say his death should be enough.
If it was their family member, I'm sure it would have gotten fixed already.
Working for you in Linda Vista, this is Anna Laurel for CBS 8.
Now, the city has since responded and says streetlight crews are scheduled to work in that part of Linda Vista at the end of this year and the start of 2023. On average, this year, around 7,000 reports are submitted to the city's Get It Done app every week. And here are the top 5 most frequently submitted reports just in the last 90 days. There are more than 16,000 reports of homeless encampments. Parking complaints are second, then container requests, missed trash collection, and graffiti. Well, a new mental health clinic is now officially open in Oceanside. A ceremony was held Wednesday to commemorate the grand opening. The new facility is located near Camp Pendleton. More than 100,000 military members, veterans who served since 9/11, and their families are eligible for treatment at this clinic. The clinic is part of the Cohen Veterans Network. Well, CBS 8 is celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month by highlighting Monarch School in Barrio Logan. It's a school that's dedicated to helping students experiencing instability in their housing situations. Not only that, it's using art to help keep Hispanic culture alive. Jasmine Ramirez shares their story.
The Monarch School's art center is called the Chrysalis. Now, it was named by the students, and it serves as an art center for not only the school, but the Barrio Logan community.
With each stroke of paint, the walls are coming alive inside of the Chrysalis.
The kids really need this. They need this like water. It's healing, so you just pretty much give them the brush and let them spread their wings and fly.
Students here are being nurtured to overcome all odds.
Well, we're the only school of its kind in the country. All of our students, K through 12, are currently experiencing some type of instability in their housing.
The school teaches children who don't have a permanent place to call home.
If we're not mentoring, the streets will mentor you, and that's not what we want here.
Herman Corrales is an artist who was raised in Barrio Logan.
It's a privilege to paint. It's not for the poor, and this is a very poor community, so that's why we got to bring back our culture.
He's teaching students about native gods and monarch butterflies of Mexico.
One of our native gods, which is Quetzalcoatl, which is he's known for knowledge and power. So this is the knowledge we're transferring for the kids. The knowledge of art, the knowledge of how to use the brush is very important.
Painting is giving students a sense of pride and healing.
How does it feel knowing that your artwork's going to be on this wall for a really long time?
Good, because I could show people what I did. It's like painting to like express your feelings and stuff about that. Me too, I like art. When I'm sad, I do art.
The Chrysalis is a place of transformation for the butterfly. The Chrysalis in Barrio Logan has become a place of transformation too.
The Monarch School's annual fundraiser is happening on October 6th. You can find more information on CBS8.com. Just click the help button. Jasmine Ramirez, CBS 8.
Really good stuff, Jasmine. Thanks. Well, an SDSU teammate of Gavin Escobar is trying to help the former Aztec and NFL player's family in their time of need. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department reported that Escobar and his friend died while rock climbing near Idlewild. CBS 8's Abby Alford has more on the support for Escobar's wife and 2 young children.
10 years ago, Gavin Escobar played tight end for San Diego State. His teammates say he was more than just a great player, which is why they remained friends off the field. Jake Bernards is still trying to process the loss of his former teammate, 31-year-old Gavin Escobar, who was killed while rock climbing with a friend last week near Idlewild.
Shocking. It took my breath away. I had no words. It almost seemed surreal, like it didn't even happen.
Bernards played football at San Diego State with Escobar, who was the Aztecs' tight end from 2009 to 2012. He was more than just a teammate. Bernards shared pictures from when they were college roommates and remained friends.
And Gavin was such a genuine person, and we were close friends that we could go years without talking to each other and pick up right where we left off.
The grief has been felt beyond SDSU. The Cowboys tweeted their condolences. Dallas drafted Escobar in 2013, where he played for 4 seasons. In 2019, he ended his football career with the San Diego Fleet, an Alliance of American football team. In February, the father joined the Long Beach Fire Department. Bernards says Escobar was a fighter on and off the gridiron. While in college, he beat testicular cancer. He often expressed himself through painting and a piano.
You just had so many avenues and outlets to show and express himself to his friends and family. So I think that multidimensionality is really what sticks with me.
Bernards created a GoFundMe to honor Escobar and help his wife Sarah and their 2 daughters. Escobar will miss his daughter's 7th birthday next week. His youngest daughter, Charlotte, is only 4.
He was the most involved dad that I've been around, and would go skateboarding with them.
Escobar's friend, experienced rock climber and documentarian Chelsea Walsh, also died in the rock climbing accident. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department is still working to determine the cause. Bernard says Escobar was an avid rock climber too.
Gavin Escobar from San Diego State.
While they may be gone, Escobar's friends are not forgetting the impact he made after his football career.
That's why I hope that this fund can help at least provide a legacy for him, whether it turns into a college fund or just help Sarah transition through this grieving process.
A memorial service for Gavin Escobar is still being planned. In the meantime, if you would like to help his family, go to CBS8.com and click on the help button.
Abby, thanks. Well, a Ukrainian teenager who lost his leg during the war is getting medical care here in San Diego. Russia invaded Ukraine nearly 7 months ago, and there's been no end to the civilians killed and wounded every day. Shannon Handy spent time with the teenager as he got fitted for a prosthetic, and while she was there, more Ukrainians came in for help.
I met 16-year-old Ivan at one of his appointments here at Peter Harsh Prosthetics in Mira Mesa. It will be months before he can return home to Ukraine, and he's going to need a lot of help during that time. It turns out he's not the only one here under similar circumstances.
Yes, no, nice to meet you.
16-year-old Ivan Shaban is slowly learning English since arriving to San Diego 2 weeks ago. But you don't have to understand his language to sense the trauma he's been through.
Гуманитарных машин.
Via a translator, Ivan says he doesn't want to disclose too many details about the incident that brought him here. Here's what he did share. In March, Ivan and his family were walking to get groceries in the northeastern part of Ukraine when he says a Russian tank left its convoy and intentionally ran over them. His mom was knocked to the ground and suffered a head injury. His stepdad was killed. He wound up losing his right leg. Which brings us to Peter Harsh Prosthetics.
Because his leg keeps changing, and we need to change with it.
Thanks to private sponsors, the House of Ukraine and the Right to Walk Foundation, Ivan was sent here to be fitted for a prosthetic leg free of charge. While at his appointment, I met 2 other Ukrainian amputees here for the same reason.
Here?
Natalia and her 11-year-old daughter were injured during a bomb strike at a train station in eastern Ukraine back in April.
What's your name?
Yana.
Yana. Nice to meet you, Yana.
Nice to meet you.
It's even more heartbreaking because I have young children. I have an 11-year-old.
Peter Harsh, who runs the clinic, says Natalia and Yana were the first Ukrainians to visit the United States solely for prosthetic care. He was connected to them, as well as Ivan, through the work he's done helping Republic of Georgia soldiers who were injured in Afghanistan and Iraq. But unlike soldiers who are treated with prosthetics in mind, the Ukrainian civilians he's seen have much more complicated cases.
They're getting blown up. But then they're not thinking about prosthetic care. They're thinking about saving their lives. So what we're seeing with blast wounds in Ukraine is that they have very sharp bones. Other bones are longer than the others. It's like razor blades inside their limbs.
Harsh says it takes time to not only get a properly fitting prosthetic, but learn to walk on it. He estimates Ivan and his guardian will be here for at least 4 months. They have temporary housing but are in need of something more permanent. They also need people who can help drive them to and from daily appointments. And if possible, Ivan would like an English tutor, saying he wants to learn our language before going back to Ukraine, where his mom and siblings are, and where he hopes at some point a normal life awaits.
To help Ivan or provide assistance to others who may need it, contact the House of Ukraine. We have that information up on our website, CBS8.com. Just click on this story.
Shannon, thanks, truly. Well, this Saturday, the Melanoma Research Foundation hopes you'll participate in the Miles for Melanoma San Diego 5K. Jeff Zevely, who is hosting this weekend's event, has a message for anyone who enjoys the sun.
After doctors discovered melanoma on my back, I was hoping that my story might save a life. And as we prepare for this weekend's 5K run, this segment is about two fathers, one who received a skin cancer screening and another who waited too long.
A lot of time in the sun.
57-year-old Jim Appel is like a lot of Southern Californians. He spent a lot of time soaking up the sun, and it left a toll.
I've had 11 skin cancer surgeries.
After seeing my story,
I said, oh, that's a reminder. I better go in and get my skin checked.
Doctors found skin cancer on several spots of his body that led to 4 major surgeries. Do you think in some way that story could have saved your life?
Absolutely. A reminder, when you get so busy, you need to take time and listen to your body and go see the doctor and get the checkups.
Along with Jim, Sue Brown saw my story in 2019 and couldn't help but think about the husband she lost to the same disease.
Very fun-loving.
Sue told me the similarities between our stories are striking. Gordon was 45, I was 48. We both had 2 kids, both had melanoma on our backs. I got lucky and he didn't.
You listened to your wife. He waited.
Right here.
My wife, Heather, spotted a blemish on my neck that turned out to be nothing. But during a skin screening, the dermatologist found the melanoma, which was removed. Sue spotted a similar growth on Gordon's back and urged him to see a specialist too.
I told him to get it checked out. By the time he did go and have it checked, he was stage 4.
Gordon died in 1999.
It makes me more sad than mad.
Sue can't help but feel Gordon and her family got cheated, which is why Sue supports the Miles for Melanoma 5K, which strives to get this message out.
Please include a dermatologist in your annual screening process. Melanoma is absolutely fatal.
That's why you don't see me down here playing volleyball anymore.
As for Jim Appel, he avoids the sun these days as much as possible.
Definitely know that skin cancer can pop up any part of your body.
Jim has made a full recovery and plans to live a long life for his wife, Andrea, along with his 2 kids in college and a bunch of golf buddies.
Just go get checked out.
In the Zevely Zone, Jeff Zevely, CBS 8.
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps. I myself have had melanoma twice, and I lost my mom to it. So get checked out. For more information on how to register for the 5K this Saturday, click on the help button at CBS8.com. Even if you don't want to walk or run in the event, dermatology experts will be on hand to answer your questions. Well, you probably don't think of algae as being something you can wear, but a team out of UC San Diego is working to change that. CBS 8's Neda Iranpour has their latest research and business venture in this Earth 8 report.
There are tiny microscopic plants in the ocean that help us stay alive by clearing the air of carbon dioxide. Algae also provides food, and now it's providing biodegradable products.
This is in every ocean, every river, every lake, you name it. These things are ubiquitous. They're survivors. They're the first organisms on the planet. Cyanobacteria were here maybe 3 billion years ago. They're the reason you and I can breathe.
Yes, microscopic plants that grow in water are that crucial to our survival.
And for distinguished professor of biology Stephen Mayfield and his students, algae has turned into a source of inspiration to replace plastic products.
Every ocean on this planet is covered in plastic trash now. How did we do that?
Wanting to solve some major environmental problems, Mayfield tasked his students to use algae to help clear the world of plastic pollution.
We have significant problems caused by us that there are scientific solutions to.
And their solution came in the form of footwear, specifically footwear made by what's found in nature to then go back into nature.
I have a pre-mixed polyol mixture here.
This is Gordy Schofield, polymer chemist at Algenesis.
And I'm going to add some pigment right now. And then we mix it up with this mechanical stirrer over here. This evenly disperses everything so that it's ready for reaction.
Once it's mixed, it's ready to be molded.
And then we mix it all together and pour it into the mold.
So here at this UC San Diego lab, they are turning algae into the substance to create soles of shoes and the soft padding on top of them. The material that would go over your foot is hemp. It's all biodegradable, which was proven in a couple different ways. The students put the shoes in their compost.
So here's what our shoe looks like, right, when you're wearing it or something like that. And then this is 1 month in a compost pile, 3 months in a compost pile, 6 months in a compost pile. And by the time you would get to 8 or 9 months, you don't even see it anymore.
They also put the shoes in the ocean, studying them off the Scripps Pier in La Jolla, checking on them regularly. They became home to mussels, even an image of a lobster on the shoe. After a few months, the hemp disappeared. The bottom of the shoe looks to take about 2 years to completely be gone, but during that time, it gets eaten by marine bacteria and marine fungi. And unlike plastic, serves as a life source, as opposed to a source of destruction. They've already sold about 1,000 pairs of these shoes, deciding to create the company Blue View out of UCSD because it was taking other large shoe manufacturers much longer to buy into the process.
We hope that what our shoe does is puts the fear of God into these big shoe companies that if you don't go this way, you're going to be out of business.
Now, they're not saying you should throw your shoes into the ocean when you're done with them, but they do see a lot of shoes and flip-flops washing ashore as part of the plastic pollution problem. So at least the makers of these biodegradable shoes can rest easy knowing they're not going to harm any animals if they get lost at sea. For Earth 8, I'm Netta Iranpour.
So important, Netta, thank you. And you can get the shoes by going to Blue View Footwear. We have a link on CBS8.com. A pair of those shoes costs $135. Well, if you're planning a trip to the mountains this fall season, there's a lot more to howl about. As we take you back to the Zevely Zone, Jeff visits the California Wolf Center.
Julian is best known for its apple pie in downtown district, but just 6 miles away, this is a special spot where you can break away from the pack.
Despite opening in 1977, the California Wolf Center has kept a quiet footprint, much like their incredible animals.
Most people don't know that we have wolves here, wild wolves. But they are in enclosures.
Teresa Kosin is the center's new executive director who wants to share her joy with San Diego.
I mean, they're so beautiful to look at, and they're so interesting to watch.
A new live webcam means San Diegans can watch the wolves from home or visit in person during events like Halloween, celebrated for the first time last year.
Our staff dressed up and visitors dressed up and everybody howled.
The center dedicates itself to returning wild wolves to nature, as well as educating the public about the critically endangered population.
Thor is our big, beautiful, darker male who's right up here in the front.
Caring for wolves has been a lifelong commitment for Sierra McIsaac.
Came from a family where my dad was military, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. No one in my family ever interested in this field.
But after laying eyes on these majestic creatures, Sierra wanted to not only fight for them, but against the stereotype that everyone is a big bad wolf.
And they're not. They are actually very family-oriented animals, which not a lot of people know. they also are really scared of people.
This is the time of year when San Diegans flock to Julian to eat apple pie.
It's apple time.
It's apple time.
But what if you did break away from the pack?
It's raining apples.
It's raining apples for apple season.
Wolves like apples.
You're like a mom trying to get your kids to eat their fruits and vegetables.
Just a little, oh, fine, here you go, here's the stuff you like.
But they prefer meat.
Oh, wow.
So that chunk of chicken is about 10 pounds.
And for dessert?
Wild boar ribs.
Wild boar ribs.
While the wolves were busy eating, we thought their feast was something to howl about.
Their ears are up, they're watching.
In the Zevely Zone, Jeff Zevely, CBS 8.
Ah, so beautiful. Tickets start at $30. For information, visit the Zevely Zone page at cbs8.com. As always, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for staying informed. Hope you join me each week as I take you around San Diego. For CBS 8, I'm Jenny Day. Take good care, and again, go Padres.